sure has been... But where should we go looking for people that we know?
Traveler, Paimon.
Sayno! It's been so long since we last saw you!
As do you. You don't seem wary at all from your travels. So, what brings you...
Oh, nothing in particular. Paimon just... saw a really big mushroom out on...
Funnily enough, we were reminiscing about you recently too. It was...
Really? You were thinking of us too?
Indeed. Or as I... You really want me to say the rest? Okay. It's always...
Oh, darn, he said it.
You like that one, huh? You must if you remember it after all this time. Admit the truth. You have long been in awe of my razor-sharp wit.
Alright. Here's your 500 Mora.
You're exaggerating. It's only 500 Mora.
Hey, 500 Mora is still a lot of snacks to Paimon.
All right. Anyway, I'm actually investigating a case right now.
A case? What happened?
Nothing major. But after finding out who was involved, I decided...
Need any help? We only came here to hang out, so we've got the time. You may as well...
Such enthusiasm.
What? No! Alright, was it...
Obvious enough. Still, it's a fine... All right. Follow me. Do you see him? The old man flailing around?
Oh, is he the one you wanted to talk to about the case?
Correct. His name is Cyrus, a former Spontamont sage.
Huh? Cyno's teacher is in trouble?
It's ridiculous. I'm just an old man who enjoys a spot of gardening, shopping, and wine.
Professor, I've brought some friends.
Ah, Sayno. Now who do we have here? Hold on, let me think. A flying my goodness. You must be the legendary traveler in Paimon.
Wow, looks like we're
I've told him about you before. You are my friends, after all. That's right. A couple of days ago, Professor
a threat letter?
Exactly. Who sends a threat letter to an...
This is the letter in question.
Cyrus, I have uncovered your secret. If you wish to prevent it from going public, leave 10 million Mora at the back door. Secondly, don't come looking for me. You'll never find me. But I will always be watching you and... wow, they sure didn't mince their words.
Clearly, this person must be desperate for Mora.
10 million Mora. What a joke. I'm just a single retiree with nothing to my name beyond the tomatoes in my garden. Where do people think...
There were no witnesses, so currently the letter is all we've got. So, Traveler, Paimon?
Paimon's ready too!
All right, take a look. Do you see anything? Yes. Some of the strokes are blurred.
So is there something wrong with the ink?
Possibly. And I bet the paper has something to do with it.
Most of the paper around here is much smoother than this, and the ink is absorbed quickly so it doesn't run. This paper, meanwhile, it's very coarse.
It's certainly not the same paper as we use in the academia, but the ink is nothing special. Just regular black ink.
So do we think the culprit has a connection with the academia? Wait, check this out. Looks like this.
Agreed. The staining suggests it was a
colored liquid, so...
Looks like we're thinking along similar lines. Let's go talk to Arof. There.
Keep up.
Ah, there he is.
Mahamatra Sayno, Sir Cyrus. Ah, and the Traveler and Paimon. It's been a while.
As such, I'm inclined to believe that the culprit in this case is a student at the academia. Oh, one last thing. I'd start your investigation by
Oh, of course! You think the culprit spilled their coffee on the letter, huh?
They do look like coffee stains to me. Also, if I'm not mistaken, the letter is written on a type of scented paper that has aromatic...
Ah, of course. Yes, like they sell in the gift shops. I remember now.
Understood. I'll assemble a team to investigate the points of interest immediately.
You have my gratitude.
One last thing. Send some Matra to guard the entrances and exits of Sumeru City. And change into plain clothes.
Will do.
Great thinking, Cyno. So, where do we think the Yeah, they've probably been lying low.
You're right, Paimon.
Really?
The culprits approach. Whatever happens, they need this Mora. But just because they warned Professor Cyrus not to go to the and crucially, the culprits said...
Huh? Wait, are you saying...
Found you!
What are you doing?
You wrote the threat letter!
I don't know what you're talking about.
I sensed someone was watching us from the shadows the moment we entered the House of Dana. You managed to stay relatively well hidden. For someone, there are a lot of people here, but we were looking specifically for Arof. Whoever followed us the whole way was likely to be the culprit.
I was just listening in, that's all. You know something big's going down when Mahamatra...
You smiled when Arof left. I saw it as clear as...
Is smiling a crime now?
There are coffee stains on the letter. You mixed some coffee with water, gently smeared it onto the paper, then wiped it off with a wet cloth. All to create the impression that the letter was written. Closing off the exits to the city doesn't affect you, because you already lit. The cafe was a red herring all along. You had to be...
You can't pin this on me! I haven't done anything!
Really? Then why are you shaking? The innocent have no reason to fear the Matra. But your heart's racing, and your eyelids are twitching.
I would never...
Don't try anything or you'll pay the price. Now...
Well, that was over quickly. Cyno already come.
You're telling me. 1 minute I go out for a quick smoke, the next minute I see Arof. Looked like a young guy, too. Couldn't have been much more than 30. But after...
Everyone, it's all over.
Gosh, that was so fast!
The culprit's name is Raka, a 16-year-old student in the Rataoist...
Huh?
16? Cyrus thought he looked 30-something!
We checked his records. He's 16, a third-year student.
But he looks so old.
Yeah, seriously.
Foolish child. He's too young for the criminal life.
We questioned the culprit regarding his motives. He...
Oh, just spit it out. Nothing can
Very well. It's our understanding that Araka is a mediocre student who has been underperforming in his classes. He started taking extra tutoring to improve his grade. Down on his luck, he went to the tavern for a drink and overheard some people chatting about Sir Cyrus's comfortable retirement. They mentioned that he's always...
Some old woman on the street? Goodness gracious. Has that rascal attended a single one of his classes? That old woman is Kasharwar's very own professor.
Is this going somewhere?
Oh, right, yes. So another thing. We don't just argue about tomato plants.
Maybe it's more the fact that you have the time to grow vegetables.
Araka mentioned he'd heard a rumor, alleging that Sir Cyrus illegally obtained a large sum of money from the desert before retiring and kept it for himself. Araka believes this money to be the reason why Sir Cyrus hasn't kept up with any academic research or other projects since his retirement.
Oh, Araka. I'm at a loss for words.
People make up rumors all the time. I am quite confident that Professor...
Arav, you'll have to find some excuse to interrogate Araka again.
I completely understand how you feel, Sir Cyrus, but I'm afraid...
Professor, there's no need...
Oh, come on. I was clearly joking.
Okay.
The academia will determine the appropriate disciplinary action against the student. And as for the individuals spreading rumors about...
Who said I'm obsessed with some old woman on the street? You seem confused. Oh, don't you understand? Uraka is just a young boy who made a very rash and very stupid decision based on some... All it cost me is a little reputation.
Please rest assured, Professor, that the academia...
Yes, I have no doubt about that. But as a former educator, I'd still like to have a serious
Correct.
We looked into the family. Both parents are merchants, and they're often a...
Oh, what a mess. You don't have to seal the evidence away yet, do you? I'd like to have that letter back for the time being. We have to show them how serious this situation...
The relevant authorities have already reviewed the evidence and are now discussing Araka's punishment.
Oh, so you'll be able to close the case and...
Give or take. Cases like this are...
Very good. Well,
My apologies, Sir Cyrus, but I have a prior...
Ah, I see. Well, that's a pity. Ah, and isn't Tainari in town at the moment?
Wait, you mean Tainari's in the city?
He is. Tainari's master, Sir Nephis, called him and Kale to the academia to help out on a project. Though I must say, I'm surprised you're extending an invitation to Tainari.
Don't be outrageous. Nephis offends me all the time. Anyway, hurry up and fetch Tainari. Go on now.
Keep up! Keep up!
Not to brag, but we never had problems like this at Ratawa Hist back when I was... They were students at the time. tell you.
I was out in the forest at least 4 days a week back then, thanks to a colossal workload from Master. It wrought havoc on my poor tail, so I didn't exactly keep up to date with what was going on at the Academia. Most of what I know, I heard from Cyno after the fact.
Professor's become a lot more laid back in his retirement. He used to be far
Wow. It's hard enough to stay true to your principles as a normal person. I can't imagine doing...
It's a pity Kale wasn't around at the time. I would have happily taken...
And then we'd have one more person who has to address Lisa.
Really? Can't you just call her Lisa? She seems to prefer it when people treat her like an older sister.
Oh, believe me, back when she was a student.
Whoa, more food? Are you sure about this? We don't want to take this big.
Oh, don't worry about it. Order whatever you like. And if it's not a...
I thought I heard some familiar voices. Ah, and Sir Cyrus is here.
Oh, Kave, it's been a while.
I've been all right, thank you. You're looking very...
Have you eaten yet? Care to join us?
That's awfully kind of you, but I had a late lunch, so I'm not really hungry just yet. I just came to Lombard's to buy some wine, and when I heard some voice... So what's the occasion, anyway? Some...
Consolation, more like.
Sounds like things have really gone downhill since I was there. My whole time...
I can't believe how young the guy is.
Young people are always more susceptible to making rash and ill-advised decisions. Their minds are still... But still, this boy has some nerve. Just look at what he wrote.
Wow, yeah. Jeez.
I will always be watching you and all of your secrets. And...
If this were my son, he'd get...
Luckily, I'm also an
Kave! Your order's ready, sir!
Coming. I'll have to get going. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye!
Here I am. The coffee beans are in here, too.
Yep, it's all there. I'll stop babbling away now. Let's eat.
Oh, too tasty.
Oh, mine too. I'll have to walk.
thanks for dinner, Sir Cyrus. Master Tainari and I will bring you some homemade herbal...
Well, I look forward to that. In fact, could I trouble you to...
No problem at all. I'll pack some up and bring it over.
I'll see you all later. I better head...
Good night, Professor. Don't let those tomatoes...
Hey, my tomatoes are serious business. Anyway, I'll be leaving now. Don't stay up too late now, children. I bid you...
Take care. Have a safe trip home.
All right.
What do you mean, us time?
Well, I was talking with Tainari and Kale, and since we all have some free...
Camping? Oh, that sounds fun. Paimon's in!
Right? It's been so long since we did something fun together.
Everyone, let's meet tomorrow afternoon at the... No need to bring anything. We've already packed everything for the trip.
You got it. We'll be there.
Great. Then we'll see you...
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's all...
Time to set off. Let's head to the southeast of Gandharvaville and meet up with...
I'd say we're right about on schedule, actually. We were aiming to have them set up.
Traveler, Paimon, let's go fishing together. Whatever we catch.
You got it! Dinner's on us tonight!
I hope I can contribute too. The other forest watchers gave me some fishing tips a little while ago.
I saw some very appetizing mushrooms in the area, so I gathered a few for us. I'll leave the...
Wow, camping with a forest watcher is the way to go! They think of everything! And
This is true. I don't think I've ever had a single rough day in this forest.
So, how has everything been?
well, there's been some high points and low points, but we've...
I see. Oh, in that case, you should try a valberry. I bought some from the...
A valuable suggestion. Just don't bury...
all I wanted was to recommend something bittersweet.
Oh, I have a sudden craving for fruit tea. I'm gonna go fetch some stuff. Bye!
She sure made a run for it.
Unbelievable! She made a run for...
So Kale chose the path of tactical retreat. Could it be she foresaw what shall soon come to pass? My dear friend, you know what I am about to say. Oh, drat. A flat-out rejection. But this isn't over. It's only a matter of time before I challenge you again.
Ugh, this guy. Somebody make it... We got a bite!
I'll reel it in.
Firewood, spices, snacks, and drinks. There are 3 tents. Which one do you two want to take?
How about the one on the left? Well, Paimon just thinks the ambiance here is a little better.
True. But it's also the closest to the water. If there are any sleepwalking fungi around tonight...
Well, that's no good. Take my weapon. You can use it to...
Anyone would think you were sealing the gates to King Deshret's mausoleum.
Excellent. Then this tent will be an impenetrable...
I'm back! How's your appetites? Ready for the barbecue?
Always. Oh, it smells so good.
Someone sure is desperate to eat. I think it's...
Wait, what? Isn't that just for...
Hey, if it works for steak, maybe it works for other things.
Medium well for me.
Okay, these are about ready now then. It'll be a few more minutes for anyone who...
Oh, that was so delicious. If Paimon's stomach had...
I ate a lot too. Here comes the food.
If you're tired, then go rest.
You must be getting sleepy too, Paimon. Why don't you guys head to your tents?
Tonight I show you mercy. Our sacred duel will take place another day.
Good night.
one's struggling to keep her eyes open.
Oh, don't forget this. The staff of the Scarlet Sands.
Wait, you were actually being serious about that?
It's a very powerful weapon.
Paimon can't even lift that thing.
Fair enough. You sure you don't...
Yeah, Paimon's sure. We'll be fine. And even if we do get...
That reminds me of a parting king of invocations. I'll tell you about it tomorrow. But right now, it's time to rest.
I think they should all be here. Traveler? Paimon? Are you in there?
Look at this.
What the? What's this sword doing here? Is it supposed to keep out intruders?
Evidently.
Huh? Who is it? Oh, what? Paimon's gonna take out the sword. Yeah! Oh, hey them, Kaveh! What are you doing?
Sorry to wake you up at this hour of the night, but we've got a situation on.
Let's get dressed and talk about it outside.
Something has come up. And since it pertains to Cyrus and Cyno, I deemed it essential to inform you all.
Whoa, back up. Let's start from the beginning. Where'd the wine cups go? I could have sworn I left them here after I washed them. Ah, there they are.
I'll have a cup too.
Can you see if the cookies are still on the table?
They are. And so are the...
Oh, this is so bland. I should have gotten a few bottles of what Cyno's group was drinking last night.
Do tell. What were they drinking?
Oh, right, I forgot to mention. So, I ran into Cyrus yesterday evening when I went to the anyway, they got a bottle of Lombard's new vintage for the table. At least I...
Sounds like they're...
You know what it's about, right? 16-year-old kid tried to extort...
I heard some people talking about it on the streets, yes. Didn't take them...
I wonder what Sir Nephis and the others will... Oh, Cyrus showed me the extortion letter, too. It was crudely written, but the paper had this beautiful... give me a sec, I'll sketch it out for you. Okay, done. Take a look. You see what I mean? I don't think I've ever seen writing paper like this around before. God knows where the culprit got...
Interesting. These are all motifs.
What? Really?
Take this, for instance. Looks like an outline of a spire, similar to the kind found on some ancient palaces. It bears a striking resemblance to an ancient emblem.
Whose emblem is it?
It's the emblem of the town.
After discussing it with each other, we both agreed that something didn't feel... This was a long way to come from the city. Alhaitham figured you were probably with Tainari, so Gandharva. Then, just as we were heading off to the campsite, we ran into Cyno. He said he was on a supply run. We exchanged a few.
Hold on. So what's the deal with that emblem you were talking about?
Is everything okay? Give me a second.
So you've never heard of the Temple of Silence? These days, you can find a Temple of Silence office in the academia. At least, that's what they tell the outside world. In truth, historically speaking, the original Temple of Silence is said to have been established by Hermanubis. By contrast, none of the Academia Temple's current members are from the desert region, nor do they use any symbol.
So the Temple of Silence at the Academia is just...
It's possible. The real question...
So, how do you know all this?
Did you forget? He did a stint as acting Grand Sage.
Oh, yeah! Paimon did totally forget about that. So you took the chance to read...
If you're asking me whether I familiarized myself with the documentation in my office...
So much about this doesn't make sense. Why did the emblem of the Temple of Silence... The student's only 16, and doesn't have any family ties to the desert.
You said you ran into Cyno, yes? Did you tell him?
Yep. He ran off as soon as he heard what we said.
Given that Cyrus is involved, he's probably... Still, we should try to catch up with him. At this hour of the night...
If the Academia's Temple of Silence really does exist just to cover up the truth, the sudden appearance of this... We should pay a visit to the Academia.
Yes. As the Sage of Amorta, my master ought to know the truth about their office.
If this situation is connected to the real Temple of Silence, the...
Kale, could I trouble you to send a message to the Core of 30? Traveler, Paimon, you two come...
Sounds like a plan.
Cyrus has been living in the city lately. He rented a place near the field so he can keep an eye on his tomato plants. Here we are. This is the...
We might be too late. Looks like nobody's home. Oh, Cyno moves fast. If he was here, he's...
I know that voice. Is that Tainari I hear?
Ah! Professor Zahahadi!
Wow, so it really is you. My good...
We're looking for Cyno. So, he's...
Yes, not long ago, in fact. He knocked on my door. I told him the old fool left early this morning, and I hadn't heard him come back. So we went to his place. It must have alarmed Cyno, because he took off in an awful hurry after that.
Well, if Cyrus isn't at home...
Professor, did you hear that a student recently tried to
Why, yes. When I left the house that day, I noticed he was watering his flowers. I could tell something was troubling him, but he wouldn't tell me. After seeing the letter, Cyno told him to contact the Core of 30, but Cyrus was...
Huh? Cyrus didn't want to report it? Well, that's strange when we...
As a former sage, it's possible Cyrus still has enemies at the Academia.
So Cyrus initially hoped to stop this from going public. But why?
Oh, dear. What on earth has that old fool... Oh, I almost forgot. Cyno left...
Thank you.
What does it say? Let Paimon take a look. My friends, this is a rather complicated state of affair.
Yep, that sounds like Cyno. Thank you, Professor. Traveler, Paimon, let's head to the Academia. Keep up.
You're here? I thought you were going after... Ah, I get...
We went to Cyrus's house. No one was there. Cyno got there before us.
He didn't say where he was going?
No, he left us a letter and told us not to.
Can't say I'm surprised.
Typical Cyno. Anyway, some updates on progress on our end. I drew the emblem from memory again, but in more detail this time.
I checked some ancient texts for a similar design. The one I found was a little blurry, but the similarities...
Yeah, and we're lucky we found anything at all. It turns out the emblem was all but lost to history. We scoured the...
Meanwhile, Arav managed to get Uraka to disclose his source. The one who told him about Cyrus's embezzled funds was a young man from the desert. According to Uraka, he had a striking presence and was...
Apparently, the two met in the tavern over a game of cards. The guy claimed to be in the city. Uraka was intrigued when he heard what his new acquaintance had to say, and brought up the idea of extorting Cyrus.
I see. So it could be that this person planted the paper intentionally.
So, how do we find this guy? Did Uraka say where he...
He doesn't know. He claims not to have seen him since that day in the tavern. The man gave him some...
Nephis and Arav have gone to meet the Court of 30 and review the city's entry and... Also, Nephis admitted that the Temple of Silence and the Academia... The true Temple of Silence once came to the rainforest to establish a collaboration with the Academia. But the Temple of Silence felt that they could no longer trust the Academia and ended the partnership. Ever since its inception, the Temple of Silence has been the guardians of King Deshret's civilization and belief system. At its roots, it was a legitimate and reputable organization whose purpose was to...
The Academia of the day knew that the split would damage their reputation if it became a matter of public knowledge.
Not only that, but they managed to keep up the charade.
So how did Cyrus become acquainted with the true Temple of Silence if they left centuries ago?
I'll bet that's the question that bothered Cyno. Probably what...
Whoever is behind this, getting Uraka to extort Cyrus was only the first step of the plan.
He must have recognized it right away. That'll be why he didn't want to involve the authorities.
Since the desert is where the Temple of Silence originated,
I have to go after him.
Really? Are you sure that's a good idea with how you respond to the...
I should be fine, as long as I bring plenty of water. Besides, I just can't shake...
Everyone, I have news from the Core of 30.
Master!
Oh, so that's Nafis, Tainari's master? Oh, we're finally getting to meet him in person.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Traveler in Paimon. Several independent eyewitnesses have reported seeing Cyrus and Mahamatra Cyno leaving the city at different times. Both were heading in the direction of Caravan Rebat. I was going to suggest that you join forces with the Core of 30 in this case. However, as I'm sure, the Academia has made a number of decisions throughout history that I am ashamed to talk about. It may well be I won't attempt to make you understand the Academia's perspective.
I understand where you're coming from, Master. But I'm afraid the situation might be more complicated than we thought. I think...
Good point. If Cyrus is involved with the other side... everyone, we have to get Cyrus...
Need our help? Whatever you need, we got you covered.
Really? Wonderful. You have my most sincere gratitude. Arav and I will continue to follow up on the lead from Uraka. Kaveh, Scribe Al-Haytham, I'd like to ask Tainari. You're planning to go into the desert, correct?
I am. Kaveh, I'll be okay. You stay behind to help Master...
Well, if you're sure... Okay.
Thank you all. Arav, let's go.
You'd better get moving. Don't forget to ask for help when you need it.
Will do. Let's go, Tainari. Hopefully we can catch up with Cyno.
Knowing him, he's probably covered a fair distance already. But we still have a shot. Let's take it.